What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Frank Warren. Of course, Tyson Fury's promoter, Frank Warren, claims that Joshua's talk with fighting Wilder is complete rubbish. And this is what he had to say. He says, I spoke to Shelly Finkel yesterday, and he denied that Joshua and Eddie Hearn were trying to work with Wilder with a lucrative deal to stop the trilogy fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. And he also said there's a rematch clause in the contract and the loser has the right to invoke that not long after the fight. That will determine what happens, not whether promoter Eddie Hearn or Joshua, regardless of what they say. It seems every time they mention these discussions, they never think about the possibility of Tyson winning the fight with Wilder. Okay. Of course, at the moment, Joshua has his WBA, IBO, IBF, and WBO titles to defend. You know, he might have to drop one, and that's a totally different video if he does, and which one will he do? Okay, should Fury beat Wilder, Warren is very open to have his boxer face Joshua after all the titles, or for all the titles in 2020. Okay, but he believes that Joshua's handler, specifically Eddie promoter Hearn, will make the negotiations difficult. Frank Warren also said, I would love to see Tyson and Joshua straight away after February 22nd, Warren said. I don't think it's a difficult negotiation. We have just seen that with two networks in the U.S. agreeing with each other for Wilder Fury 2, the only thing that stops it all of the ego with Eddie Hearn is the ego with Eddie Hearn. I don't see why it should be a problem at all. It's a fighter for the good. It's the fight for the good of the sport that everyone wants to see, as long as Tyson wins his next fight and Joshua wins his mandatory fight next, it can happen. He says, it seems like everyone is looking for reasons why it shouldn't happen. Nearly every big fight we have got over the line. The only one we didn't get was Lennox Lewis versus Riddick Bowe. Fury and Joshua are at their best. Nothing is stopping it from happening except Joshua's people being afraid of their cash cow being beat. Those are the words from Frank Warren. Now, let me counterpunch this, man. First, I want to say, it sounds good to hear Frank Warren say these things about being open after a fight or the win, given that Fury beats Wilder. That's good that he's open to a fight, and he really leaves it up to Eddie Hearn. Okay, now we know these guys, Frank Warren and the relationship with Eddie Hearn it's not good. It's just as bad as Shelly Finkel, Eddie Hearn. Both have terrible, probably if not worse, because Frank Warren's a British fighter. So it's kind of like deep-rooted rivalry over there, right? So I think it's more than that. You know, he says it's up to that, but the ego of Eddie Hearn, okay, that's a cheap shot at Eddie Hearn, you know, will stop that fight. Also, along with the fear of Anthony Joshua, their cash cow, getting beat. Well, okay, let's talk about egos. Let's talk about that. Now, not only we have to talk about the egos of the promoters, because if two people already don't like each other, that's a dislike that's standing in their way. Fact. Another fact is both egos from both promoters, right? Because Frank Warren has his own promotion, but one thing we're overlooking that we also have to include is the egos of the fighters themselves. Okay, let's look at that. Do you guys remember when Tyson Fury was offered, I believe, he was offered the Joshua fight? And then of course in 18 he was offered the Joshua fight, but he wanted 4 tune-up fights. And then Joshua didn't really want to fight him simply because he was like, well, if I beat him, they wouldn't give me full credit. Then Wilder fought him to a draw. Right? Well, when Eddie Hearn made them an offer, they laughed at that offer. But then how much money did Tyson Fury make, honestly, with Deontay Wilder, the other champion? I guarantee you, he made nowhere near the money that Eddie Hearn offered him. Now, this is one thing I think people should put their egos aside. Okay. If Anthony Joshua and Team Hearn, or Team Joshua and Eddie Hearn make you an offer and you refuse, I think what's the honest thing to do, if you're going to turn down a certain amount of money, you should include why. But honestly, why? Why are you turning down this amount of money? Okay, because you know that a Joshua fight is a lot bigger than the fight you had or will ever have with anyone else. That's one thing that they do not want to confess. If you notice, you see these guys turning down fight after fight, but they love, you'll fight Ortiz over here, you'll fight Wilder, you'll fight Pianetta, you'll fight Tom Schwartz, you'll fight Dominic Breazeale, which is a mandatory, you'll fight Ortiz again, you'll fight Fury again, but you're not going to make the money that was even offered to you by Team Hearn to fight Joshua. Okay, so it goes back. It's the same thing. They should just call it what it is and say what the real reason. No, we want to fight Joshua, but we know Joshua's worth a hell of a lot more than everyone else. So guess what? We want more money. Okay? So I think it's hard to believe that Frank Warren is only throwing the ego bid on Team Hearn, where Tyson Fury himself looks at himself as the lineal champ. I'm the Gypsy King. I'm the best fighter in the world. Everyone is the lower levels below me. That guy, you think that guy is going to take a deal? So what other ego are we worried about? Tyson Fury. But wait, we have Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua knowing that he's worth more, right? Now, this is a product of opinion. This could be construed as ego. Like, I'm fucking Anthony Joshua. I'm AJ. I'm the landlord. I make all the money. I fill the seats. I get the big fucking checks. I don't think I need to share my money with that guy. Because I know you're not worth it based on your sales and what you do without me. You know what I'm saying? So you can still look at that as ego. Honestly. Now you could say, well, it's business, which it is business. Because here's the thing. If all those other fighters, if Deontay Wilder had the star power Joshua would he be the same person? Of fucking course he would. Of course he would. They would make an offer because they supposed to already made an offer, right? $50 million, $50 million. He didn't want to take it. He's scared. He a coward. He don't have a heart of a champion. They didn't wait because they didn't want to make the date. Okay. So, of course, he would have that same ego. He would have that same mindset. Okay? Tyson Fury, we already know the answer to that. I filled out Wembley Stadium with Klitschko on the rematch. I'm the baddest man on the planet. I am the real baddest man. I am the reincarnation of Ali. Joshua doesn't sell like me. He doesn't make the dollar amount. Right? So no, because if they're already at themselves and they're already at the level they are on, right? They're already at the level they're on. And they already have these big egos. So you're trying to tell me that is going to be the only reason that fight won't happen. Yes, there's going to be obstacles. There's going to be hurdles. But it's not going to just be one-sided, and it's not going to just be with Hearn. It's going to be on both sides of the spectrum. Okay? With making that fight, especially if Fury wins. Because you know what happens is Fury's going to win. Fury's going to be the WBC, and he's still going to claim the belts that Anthony Joshua has. Why? Because he has not lost them in the ring, and he's going to claim those belts. He's going to claim, I'm the lineal, and the only belt that I needed was the WBC. The WBC now I possess. I have the WBC. You want to fight it? Joshua, it's 50-50 all the way down the line, and it might be 60-40 in my favor. That's what he would do. That's probably what would happen. We don't know what Tyson Fury will do if he goes in there and beats Deontay Wilder. Like vice versa for Deontay. Deontay has already said once upon a time, because I've done a video on it. I've counterpunched it. He's already said one time that spewed out of his mouth that shit, really 60-40 in my favor. We should give him 40%. Absolutely. So yes, according to these guys, the fight, it seems good. It looks like Frank Warren is at least open to negotiations with Eddie Hearn, to say the least. So hopefully they can go farther than Joshua Wilder ever did. Because Joshua Wilder, to this day, has never had a sit down with the promoters and try to iron out a deal. It's just been talk after talk and offers that were sent over pretty much one-sided. Let's be real, all of them have came from Hearn. And Shelly Finkel has ignored all of them because he told them, we don't care. Ain't good enough. We need to sit down. But they never had a sit down. So that's that. So it's more than just, your cash cow has lost. And one last thing to counterpunch about this. How the hell are they going to be pissed off or afraid that Anthony Joshua will lose when he's already lost? Duh. I mean, I don't think these guys really think that out before they make that decision. Like, Frank Warren is like, I don't think they're cash cow. If they lose, they lose. No, if he loses, they're going to want a rematch. And one thing about Joshua, he knows if he gets beat in the first fight, it depends on how he gets beat. He's going to come back stronger, as we've seen. Now, I am interested to see how and what style that he goes into the next fight. That's very intriguing to me. But he was able to overcome and prevail against the guy that stopped him. Okay? So, yeah, I don't think that it's about Joshua losing no more. Joshua still has the star power. In fact, probably more now because he's able to overcome adversity. Unlike Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. But they will find out, hopefully, if it's not another draw. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Frank Warren's comments. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.